What's up, rail fans? We're here at the Lackawanna station in Scranton, and check this out. Some old rails, but they're not just any rails. These rails used to hold the Phoebe Snow. They go all the way down there to, let's zoom in, that's Renaissance Park down there. Renaissance Park is a small but largely unknown slice of American railroad history that hides in plain sight smack dab in the middle of downtown. In the long-gone days of passenger service, this is where the biggest names in the Lackawanna Railroad's passenger train business came to rest when they made their stops into town. In modern times, it's a great place to catch trains like the Naphtha Power that we caught here back in 2018. Coming down the hill into town, the tracks converge from 4 to 2 and then into 1. In the days of the Lackawanna and the Erie-Lackawanna Railroads, this is where the yard limits of the Scranton yard started. Today, it's where the limits of the Steamtown yard starts. As you can see, the track goes all the way up to the Pocono main line. This is the old Erie-Lackawanna main line. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Today's adventure actually got started back at our usual spot, where by chance I caught the day's train 37T rounding the bend and up the grade behind an AC-DC locomotive combo consisting of an EMD SD70 ACE and a General Electric -944 CW. They were pulling a short train towards Binghamton and Buffalo, New York. As I said before, the catch of the 37T was happenstance. My original destination was the Steamtown yard where the original 3 of today's 5 big 6-axle locomotives were lugging in a heavy train load of wheat and sand for customers on 2 different parts of the railroad. What's interesting about this particular train is that it's not running under the normal DL3 train symbol. Today it's running as the DL1. Take a look at the makeup of this train. We're now looking at tomorrow's PO74 turn to and from Mount Pocono. Along the way, the 3 loaded centerbeam cars will be switched out in a town called Cresco out on the Pocono main line. Those grain hoppers, starting with that brown BNSF one, will go on to the Ardent Mills processing plant in Mount Pocono. For all intents and purposes, Ardent Mills is the reason for the railroad, and we'll be taking a closer look at that operation in future videos. Here's what I've been wanting to get for the longest time. Over here we have something that's unusual. This is a pedestrian railroad crossing. Now, a couple weeks ago, Jawtooth, if you're not familiar with his channel, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. I'm sure you are. He's got almost 60,000 subs, so give him one more. But he did a video on pedestrian crossings out in Utah. I told him I would do one for the pedestrian crossings that we have here, so here we go. This is the Delaware-Lackawanna main line. We're going to take a walk down these steps. As you see here, as the Steamtown Park is telling you, look out for trains, expect them at any time. You got your railroad crossing symbol. Check this out. You got a gate here. It opens and closes. Unfortunately, people also use this as a public toilet, so we're going to kind of get out of here. But you walk out and you immediately have at your disposal a pair of train tracks that's going eastbound towards the Poconos. The best part of all is we have a train coming. But before we get to that train, let's take a look at another pedestrian crossing, one that's even more decked out. The place is Owego, New York, and the railroad is the Norfolk Southern Tier route between Binghamton and Buffalo, and the train is another 37T. The year is 2015, and instead of struggling up grade, 37Ts on this part of the NS can whiz along at speeds exceeding 50 miles per hour. But notice the crossing. That's a pedestrian crossing complete with bells, flashers, and operating gates. How cool is that? And if you doubt that this is indeed a pedestrian crossing and not a vehicular one, take careful note of the railroad rails coming out of the ground as to prevent any kind of motorized vehicles from using this crossing. Check this out. We got the trolley, Electric City Trolley. Sorry for the pole in the way, but this kind of caught me off guard. And we also got the DL coming up the hill. After 1 or 2 more moves, train DL1 will spot this train for the run over the Pocono Mountains tomorrow. The power will then be cut off and shut down for the night. Check this out right here. I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, it's like really old. You got wires that have been severed right here. That's the DL over there you hear squawking on the radio. But this thing is like falling apart. It's made of wood. I'm guessing it had metal doors when it was actually in service. Down here you got some metal things coming out of the ground. Not really sure what they're for. Then over here we have this concrete piece right here. And another one over here. And then something else over here. And it just keeps on going. We got that. This hiding in the weeds. It's not really sure what that would have been for, but and then we got this here. And there's still more going up. Oh, you know what? I think I know what this is. I think this was a handrail, because it goes all the way up. You probably can't see it from here, but I can see it goes all the way up. Yeah, I think this was a handrail. Okay, down below, that's the Laurel line. That's what the DL uses to deliver to compression polymers over on the extreme south side. And that's also what the Electric City Trolley uses to go to Montage Mountain. That's why you see the electric wire overhead. Runs all the way over to there. Don't know if you can see it. There's another little industry over there where those hopper cars are. The Laurel line runs alongside those hopper cars to the extreme right. Do you see that track there to the extreme right? That's where the Laurel line runs, the Electric City Trolley and the Delaware Lackawanna. Look at that warped rail right there. That's weird. Can you see that? Way up ahead there we have another pedestrian crossing. Not quite as elaborate as this one down here, but certainly just as important. This pedestrian crossing leads to the parking area for the University of Scranton. From the top of the stairway, you get a nice telephoto view of trains like the Steamtown Scranton Limited rounding the curve at Ridge Row and whistling for the first pedestrian crossing, the crossing we were just documenting. Our last shot of the day is the Scranton Limited backing down into Steamtown, where the passengers will dismount and a new group will board for another trip up the line. Make sure that you hit the like button if you like this video, and be sure to join us as we continue our rail fanning summer of 2019. For Trains 21, call me AC.